one of the thoughts that came to mind when you were talking is who, not how, is a growth strategy. Who, not how, helps you accelerate your growth, because as I look back on our journey, when we were trying to figure out how to do things, it was slow growth. We wasn't making the money we wanted to make. We wasn't producing the outcome that we wanted to get or that we knew we was capable of getting. But when we changed our mindset and we said, who can do these things for us? Who can we hire? Who can we train? Who can we delegate to? That's when we seen the massive growth take place and happen within our business. Welcome to another edition of the Expose and Expand podcast show. I'm the man with the plan, Jeremy Mathis. I'm your other host, Joshua. I'm going to give you the game, Mathis, and welcome to another episode of the Expose and Expand podcast show, where we expose you to the ideas, the strategies, the struggles, the failures, the people, and the experiences that have gotten us from zero to millions. Guys, so today we're talking from experience. And today we're talking about how to buy back your time. When you buy back your time, you get one of the greatest assets that you can ever have in life, and that's time freedom. In order to get time freedom, you have to retrain your mind. You have to retrain yourself on how to think. Because as toddlers and as kids and in school, we're taught to think how to do this. We're taught to think how I can get this done. How can I make this happen? Where if you want time freedom, you got to retrain yourself to think who can do this for me? Who can help me grow? Who could take me to the next level? You got to ask yourself who, not how, and that is what we're going to be talking about today. We're very excited about it, and again, we're talking from experience. So today's going to be a lot of game as always. So we're very excited. Super, super excited about this episode because this has been, in my opinion, one of the greatest lessons that we've learned in business, asking the question of who, not how, and it has helped us grow so much in business. And one of the things that I thought about when we were creating the notes and what we wanted to really discuss on this show is how has this really benefited us in business? And one of the biggest things that I thought about was who, not how, is a productivity hack. It's one of the biggest productivity hacks that has happened to us in business. And one thing that I think about as I think about who, not how, is when we first started flipping houses. When you and I first started flipping houses, it was just you and I hustling, bustling, right? Going to get the materials, going to meet the contractors at properties, taking the materials to properties. And as I was thinking on that time, that was all cool because we started to understand how fixing and flipping worked. But we was working 110 hours a week. But then also the harm in all of that was understanding that we was taking our focus off what was really important, which was finding more deals and raising money. Because before we started flipping, we were wholesaling houses. So if you guys that don't know, in our real estate investing firm, we wholesale, we fix and flip, we buy rentals, we do creative deals, we do all things real estate. And in year one, we started wholesaling houses. And then we got started flipping houses. And when we started to flip houses, we stopped focusing on generating deals. We stopped focusing on raising money. But we wasn't even raising money at that time. It was just really on deal flow. So before we knew it, our deal flow had slowed down because we were spending so much time at our flips. We were spending so much time at Home Depot going to pick up materials, as opposed to asking ourselves who we was doing all the how. Yeah, facts. You talking about doing all the how and carrying those materials, about to break our back, carrying loads and loads of paint, carrying loads of baseboards, materials. Messing up our car. Yep. Doing things that we shouldn't have been doing. And for the longest, we put ourselves really in the burden, if you think about it. Because one of the things that we had to learn was that we should be focusing on revenue generating activities. Picking up material from Home Depot and dropping it off to a job site, that does not generate revenue for us. We actually lose revenue. And so often when you focus on how to get things done, you're not focusing on how you should be making money. You're not focusing on the things that can really take you to the next level, the things that can really help you excel. And for us, we struggled a lot when you think about it, because we would get a deal, we would buy deals, so buy some flips. But the only way we would buy those flips is we would focus on finding deals. So we focus on finding deals, buy the properties, and then be helping the contractors with picking up materials, being at job sites, and that stopped us from finding more deals. once we sold those flips, we back at point zero. Like, oh shoot, we got to get back into it if we want to make more money, because we was focused so much on the how. So today, I think it's going to be a great breakthrough for people. I think a lot of people are going to start to understand how to take it to the next level, because so often, unless you're told to stop being a one-man show, you continue to be a one-man show. You either told to stop doing that, or you get frustrated like we got frustrated and say it got to be a better way. It has to be a better way. And today we're going to talk about how we figured out that better way. After dropping off job materials and being so upset that we messing up our cars, we like, man, there got to be a better way. And we luckily was able to figure it out. So, and you mentioned that we were frustrated, and I remember those early days of frustration of having to meet. And you think about all the time that we lost. We would have to schedule a time to meet the contractor at Home Depot. 9 times out of 10, the contractor 20, 30 minutes late to getting to Home Depot. So then we'll get to Home Depot. We're there. We're going to spend an hour, 2 hours in the store picking up all the materials that they need for that portion of the job, because we got to go back and do it again 4 to 5 times for just one project. So I was thinking about this, and I'm like, yo, we lost easily 30, 40 hours of time because we're trying to meet the contractors there and really be in control of everything. And like you said, we started talking to people and saying, yo, it gotta be a better way. Then we found out that, hey, we can do phone sales. Then we found out that, hey, instead of trying to be HGTV with our flips, we can do all of our flips somewhat the same way, right? And then that makes it easier for our contractors to go to Home Depot or the Lowe's or wherever we was getting materials from to pick up the materials and we didn't have to be there. So guys, one of the ways that we learned this was by joining a mastermind, and in that mastermind, we were introduced to this book. We had to replace money because this book was very transformational in our life, and it really helped us understand the concept of how to buy back your time, of how to get time freedom, and how to accelerate teamwork. That book is called Who Not How, which is today's concept and what we're talking about. We're going to leave a note. We're going to leave a link to purchase this book in our show notes. So if you're watching on YouTube or any of the podcast players, we're going to have a link, because you guys need to read this book. It's going to be game changing. After, of course, read the book after you listen to the rest of this episode, because we're going to give you a couple more examples of how asking who and not asking how has led us to ultimate freedom, which led me to systems and processes in our business. We was, as you heard us say, we were picking up the materials. We were doing everything for the flips outside of doing the work in the project. And when we got frustrated, we said, you know what, how could this be better? And the way that it got better is we created systems and processes. Well, we tried to create systems and processes.
Slow down before you
tried
wreck out now.
People was like, listen, if you guys want to get better at this, if you guys really want to build a business, you need to create systems and processes so that the business can run without you, so that everybody can know what they need to do without you guys having to be so involved. If you guys really want to create time freedom, this is how you do it. Me and Josh's mind don't work step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It don't work like that for us. For some people, that's how their mind work. My mind work from step 1 to 100. All right, everything in the middle, it gets mushy for me, and it gets difficult for me to sit down and create a process in the system for someone to follow. But that didn't stop us from trying. We tried again. Oh, and we tried again, and we kept failing at our systems and processes because we were doing what we were taught to do growing up, which was how. Or how can I create a systems and process? And we kept trying to figure out how, as opposed to saying, you know what, son, you done tried multiple times. It ain't working for you, cuz. It ain't working for you, my boy. You gotta ask somebody who can do this for you. And once we asked that question, we got more time freedom. Because instead of banging our head against the wall trying to figure out how to create these systems and processes so that we can scale the company, we hired a consultant, our who, and they came in and they helped us create systems and processes in our business so that now if an employee or a team member comes in, we're giving them this blueprint that they can follow without us having to be involved. And that's how we've created more time freedom. With our contractors, we've created a system where they know you can go to Home Depot without us, you buy all the materials, you call us, and we approve the sale over the phone, and you go and you do what you got to do without us having to be there and without us being involved. Yeah. How would you, because you said system and process, for the person that doesn't understand, because we didn't know what that was when we first started in business. right? It took us a while to understand what a system and process is and why it's valuable to the business. So for the person that's listening, they don't know what a system and process is. Give me a fifth grade definition of a system and a process. A system and a process is how you do things without having it's a standard operating procedure on how to do things without asking anybody a question. So it's a roadmap to get you to your destination, whether if you're a team member or you're an employee, to get things done. So we tell you step by step by step. So when it's time to paint the house, we tell you the SKU that you need to get from Home Depot and where you need to get it from. That's part of our process. When it's time to buy a faucet, we tell you which faucet to buy. That way you don't even have to call us. You know, I need to go to Home Depot. This is the SKU that I need to get, and this is what I need to do. And the reason why that's beneficial to us is because they don't have to call us, hey, what faucet? Because what faucet do I need to get? What color do you want to paint the house? If you look at the systems and the processes that we spent time and money laying out, you don't even have to call me anymore. I think the reason I asked you that question because sometimes people get it confused, and I want to break down the two. So a system is one thing, and a process is something totally different. A system is like if you guys have a business, in our business we have a CRM system. So that CRM, it allows us to operate the business where we don't have to have so much human interaction. It's a system that we use to operate the business. A process is how we do things. It's a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So as Jerm mentioned, when the person comes in, we give them, so we'll give you guys a brief example. We have acquisitions managers, people that get on the phone and they sell and try to lock up houses for us. So when they come into our business, we have a system, which is Podio. That's our CRM system. And it comes in and we teach them how to use that system, how they can automatically dial out using the system, how the system does automatic follow-up so that they don't have to do it. And then the process is how we do those things. So when a lead comes in, what's step 1? When we get the lead in the contract, what's step 2? When we get the lead to closing, what's step 3? So I just wanted to break that down for you guys. No, for sure. Thank you for doing that. I don't think you did a good job, but it's okay. We all try. I mean, my boy, I had to come in and save you because you tell systems process. What that mean, my boy? But more on systems and processes. Well, not even systems and processes, but going back to our real estate business. For us, another thing that we had to start to figure out, and really focus on who, not how, was me not managing the rental properties anymore. So when we started buying rental properties, I was managing the properties and I was frustrated, bad. If you've done property management, you know it's a babysitting gig that doesn't pay well, and you're babysitting grown adults. You're taking calls about petty, small issues most of the time, and it becomes frustrating. And because I was doing that, it really started to hinder the business. Because not only was I managing our rental properties, I'm also managing our acquisitions and our sales team. How effective could I be managing them if I'm getting a call in the morning on my way into the office and getting ready to lead the team, and I'm dealing with a petty issue? And I've had to learn how to separate certain things and compartmentalize. But at one point, I wasn't good at that. So as I'm managing these properties, I'm focusing on things that I shouldn't be focusing on, things that doesn't drive revenue for us. And that led me to becoming a bad leader to our sales team. So eventually we got to a point where we said, you know what, Jerm, your time is better spent, because I would go to Josh all the time complaining about my job and managing these properties. And he said, you know what, this doesn't help us generate revenue. We need to focus on things that help us generate revenue. So we started asking ourselves, who can manage these properties as opposed to Jerm, you managing them? So we found our who to manage the properties, and I was able to focus on something that really makes us money. If we would have started out day one asking ourselves who can manage the properties, we would have avoided 18 months of frustration for me, and that in turn cost us to lose money. So that's another story of us having to really learn the concept of who, not how, and when we applied it, how we started to make money in our business. Yeah. Another way that we apply who, not how into our business is when we hired a fractional CFO. So Jerm and I, one of our struggles is we understand finances, but the numbers are not our strong suit. And I believe in business, you have to understand what you're good at and what you're not good at. And we just know that was an area where we needed growth and we needed help at. It took us a while to get there. And the reason we started to understand that was because we was making money. You see the HUDs easily making six figures, netting six figures a month, most months within our real estate investing business. But then at the end of the month, at the end of the year, we was like, yo, that's all the money. We closing all these deals, making all this money. Where's all the money? So instead of us, we were banging our heads against the wall trying to figure out like what is going on, how to do this the right way. We found that fractional CFO, and he came in and he helped us break down the numbers of our business. He helped us put a process in place that says that, hey, when money comes into your bank account, you guys need to set up 7 different accounts. You have a tax account, you have a profit account, you have an income account, you have an operating account, you have a reserve account. We have all these different accounts so that we know exactly where our money is going. And we at a point where we're running the business based off percentages. So every time we get money in, we know exactly what percentage of those funds is going into separate accounts. And I think that has been a huge game changer for us now, because it makes us better business owners. We know how to operate the business better, and then also we're able to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Because one thing that a lot of business owners struggle with is they're running their business, and same thing we're struggling with. They're running their business, they're making money, but then when it's time to pay themselves, or when it's time to take that extra distribution, the money's not there, and you're like, where's all the cash? So now we're able to take the out of our profit account, where every quarter we're able to take that extra distribution. And for me, I don't know about for you, but for me, that makes me excited, because now as I see that profit account growing, I'm more excited to like, man, we need to do more deals. So a common theme with all of these stories that we're telling you guys, and if you haven't figured it out yet, is we brought back our time. So as opposed to us trying to figure out how we can better manage our finances, we hired somebody to help us better manage our finances. So we're not trying to figure it out, not spending a lot of time trying to figure out something that's not a strong suit. As opposed to us banging our head against the wall, continuously trying to figure out how to create systems and processes, we hired a consultant that does that. So that who brought us back more time, as opposed to us going to Home Depot, picking up materials for job sites. We hired a who to go out and do that so that we can get more time. The whole premise and the basis of this show, and what we need you guys to understand, is that you always need to ask yourself, before you do something, who can do this for me, as opposed to how can I do this? I'm gonna say that again. Before you do anything, you need to ask yourself, who can do this for me, as opposed to how I can do it? Once you start thinking of it that way, that is how you get ultimate time freedom. And some of you guys may not be at a level where you can pay a who, but you need to start retraining yourself to always ask that question first, so that when you do get to that level, you're prepared for it. That's something that we had to learn. We had to really sit down. We're in these meetings, we're talking about what we gonna do, and then we had to recalculate, take a step back, like, yo, we're doing this, we're back into our old habits. Who is the right person to come in and they can get this done? We had to do for this podcast. For us at the beginning, it was just me and Josh doing everything, pre-production, post-production, making sure the cameras are on, making sure that the microphones are good, making sure that everything is good for this, pulling the clips for the show. And we got to a point where we took our eye off what makes us money, which is real estate. And we said, you know what? We got to hire the right that can come in here and that can really run this podcast and focus on it. And we can focus on what we're good at, which is making money in real estate. So we hired a full-time producer that manages everything for the podcast. So now that me and Josh, all we got to do when it's time to shoot a podcast show, we sit down and we shoot, outside of pre-planning for the topics that we're going to talk about. But we ain't making sure the cameras are good no more. We ain't making sure that the memory card has space to record. We found our who that can now really accelerate the growth of the show without us having to focus on it. So in business, if you really want to go to the next level and you really want to get time freedom in your life, have time for your family, and not be frustrated, always ask that question, who, not how. One of the thoughts that came to mind when you were talking is, who, not how is a growth strategy. Who, not how helps you accelerate your growth, because as I look back on our journey, when we were trying to figure out how to do things, it was slow growth. We wasn't making the money we wanted to make. We wasn't producing the outcome that we wanted to get, or that we knew we was capable of getting. But when we changed our mindset and we said, who can do these things for us? Who can we hire? Who can we train? Who can we delegate to? That's when we seen the massive growth take place and happen within our business. Another value for me personally with who not how is at home. So guys, you don't only have to use who not how in your business. You can use this. You need to use this in your personal life. So for me, as Jern was saying, it allows you to buy back your time. For me personally, I have a nanny at home. And me having a nanny helps me buy back so much of my time and be the dad that I want to be. Because growing up, I saw my mom struggling. We saw my mom not really having the time to spend with us because she was working. She was hustling. It was a single mom with 5 kids, and she never had the opportunity to spend time with us because if she was not working, she had to clean the house, do the laundry, cook for us, and do everything else. But for me in my life, what I've seen or what I've experienced by having a nanny is, like I said, I could buy back my time. The nanny, she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of all the household items, she makes sure we have the groceries. So I'm not spending my time on those tasks. And then also when it comes to for me being a parent, she ensures that the kids know how to wash their clothes. She ensures that they know how to clean. So instead of me having to sit there and teach them these things where that's not the highest and best use of my time, now I can focus in and I can come home and have really great conversations with my kids. I can focus in on being the parent that I want to be because having the nanny is allowing me to buy back my time. So we've mentioned buy back your time, but one of the things that Josh just mentioned was highest and best use of your time. You guys need to always be focusing on your personal life and in business. What is the highest and best use of my time? If you are in a flipping business, your highest and best use is not going to Home Depot, picking up materials and dropping it off to a job site. If you're in business and you know your strong suit is not putting together systems and processes, that's not the highest and best use of your time. If you really want to make money, you need to be figuring out what is the highest and best use of my time. For us, the highest and best use of our time in business is finding deals and raising money. We are great at that. That is how we make money. That is what we need to focus on. And now we're finding the who's that can go and figure and putting them in place so that they can focus on the other things that helps the business continue to grow. Because we figured out what our highest and best use of our time is. So make sure you understand that as well. So to your point, as I mentioned earlier, who not how is a productivity hack, right? Now that we understand that premise, we're more productive. We can focus on finding more deals. We can focus on raising more money. And now you and I, we have a good problem on our hands. We have access to more capital than we have good deal flow because we focused on what we were good at, which was raising money. And one thought that I had as you're talking is, how is expensive paying? When you ask the question of how, it is expensive paying. Expensive meaning that time is one of our greatest assets. When you're spending time trying to figure things out, that's expensive. Your time is the most expensive asset that you own. So if you're sitting there trying to figure this out, it's expensive. So there are some things that you should be trying to figure out, but not everything. So I want to make sure that we are clear on that. And again, guys, if you're not at that point where you can hire the right who, continue to work very hard so that you can increase your cash flow, you can increase your bank account and be able to hire the right who's that can help you buy back your time and not have to focus on expensive pain, in the words of the great philosopher Meek Mill. So you got anything else you want to add, my boy? Nah, man, this was a really good episode. I hope you guys got value from it because this is one of, like I said earlier in the show, this is one of the greatest lessons that Jerm and I have learned is understanding that we don't need to be asking how to do something. We need to be asking ourselves who can do it for us or who can teach us on how to do this so we can buy back our time. So guys, as you know, we put a lot of time, energy, and effort putting these shows together, and we have the gentleman's agreement. The gentleman's agreement is if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you click that subscribe button and leave us a comment so that we can know how we did and what we can do better. And if you're listening on a podcast player like Apple or Spotify or anywhere that you can listen to podcasts, make sure you hit that follow button and leave us 5 stars and a review because we do read the reviews. We want to know how we can get better and we want to know what topics you want to hear from us. So guys, make sure you honor that gentleman's agreement. And the reason why we call it the gentleman's agreement is because we cannot see you do it. We just know you guys are going to do it and continue to support the show. If you got value in this, please make sure you send it to someone else or send it to a group of friends or family members that need to hear this message. We're putting a lot of time into these messages so that we can help you guys grow and expose you to the things that got us from zero to millions. Expose and expand. Peace. Peace.